Hello. Thank you for watching. I'm Aaron Kurtz, and this is gonna be a great video. Great video. First off, I want to just announce I have a Patreon page. Why do I have a hair on my head? Oh my God. I have a Patreon page, and if you are getting anything out of this content, you want more information, more details, access me directly, maybe live videos, chat with other members, get more content, check the link in my YouTube description for the Patreon page. It's here. Now, for this video, I want more for you in your life. Just like I want more for myself in my life. And this video is going to speak directly to how you can do that. You got to get out of your head. How do we get out of our head? How do we deal with all this anxiety when all we just tend to think about is everything that's wrong? And the mind just, the more we think about, the more it accumulates, and it's just this spiral. Okay. I want to start with this thing of like, hey, I've had anxiety, OCD, right? Maybe some of you haven't, but OCD, I see it's like this monster, anxiety monster. And by the way, don't make a big deal about OCD because you'll be able to move out of it soon, and it won't be a big deal anymore. So don't make this part of your identity. Don't call yourself an OCD person. Whatever. Okay, stop it. You're going to know what's really underlying a lot of this. And when you do, you won't be thinking about OCD anymore. Okay, so what's underneath OCD is anxiety. And anxiety is the result of overthinking. Now, people who overthink are smart people. Why? Because smart people have an ability to think really well. Okay? So congratulate yourself. You're smart, you're intelligent, but you're not being smart about your emotions and how you're living your life. And this is what I want to talk about. This is what I did for my life. This is how I went from being severely stuck in OCD, intrusive thoughts, and not knowing what was left or right, and panic attacks and anxiety, to just wiping it out. Because I changed these, I gained skills in certain areas. We're going to talk about that today, and changed a lot of how I'm living my life and how I'm relating to my emotions. And so, a central thing to this. It's Florida. It's summer in Florida, so I'm like wiping sweat off my head. Central to this is okay. So we start off by saying smart people get um, chronic anxiety and they overthink. Why? Because they think too much. Why are they thinking too much? They're thinking too much because there's an inability to be with emotion, to be with feeling. Our ability to think actually was formed, evolutionary psychology, whether you believe it or not, it's a form of the theory, right, that describes this process. It formed over top our limbic brain. If our primitive brain was here, our limbic brain was here with emotion, and then our prefrontal cortex with thinking came on top. Thinking came as a way to help us survive, but it's not foundational. What's more foundational is actually our instincts and then emotion. And so where am I going with that? Well, emotion is more critical to our being. And so we think over top of emotion. And we do this with anxiety, is that we use it as a way. When we are blocked internally, we are blocked awareness wise of what we are feeling, and not being able to give ourselves the space to feel what we are feeling. We will, us intelligent people, we'll try to think our way out of it. We'll try to control and suppress and just cope by overthinking. That's what that is, right? And so all of this is all a symptom of that. All of the OCD and anxiety and the depression, also, it's a symptom of all this. And so here's the real thing. And here's what I want for you, because when you get this, there's so many of you guys that are incredibly skilled, right? You're incredibly smart and intelligent, but it's being pushed into an area that's not working for your life. Okay? It's being shunted into an area. It's being suppressed. All your gifts and abilities and the things you want for your life which, by the way, I really encourage you to think about. What do you want for your life? This is going to help drive you out of this as well, because then you'll know sort of what actions and behaviors to start taking, which we're going to talk about. So there's so many things you guys can do. You guys are extremely talented. I know this because you have anxiety, right? Because you have maybe OCD, all this stuff. Because I think the same way about myself. And so there's so much more you can do and you can be in your life if we can adjust and just um, flip some of these things. And the big thing is that to really understand this is we're talking about how to focus your brain, how to focus your mind. Right now, we're a little effed because our our mind has been shown that our emotions and anxiety is really important. Why? Because we've dwelled on it and we've told it's important by thinking about it too much. When we think about something, we're telling our brain that it's really important. The more you think about something, the more it grows. Why? Because your brain is like a social media algorithm. The more you like and share and post about something, the more you're going to get back. Okay, that's the reticulating reticular activating system, the RAS, right on your brain stem. It's what picks out things in your environment to give you more what you think is important to help you survive. So knowing this, you don't want to dwell on the anxiety. You don't want to try to correct it. You don't want to try to fix it, right? Because it's a symptom. So the real key here is that when you're dealing with this, you want to develop the ability. I'm saying develop the ability because it's going to take time and practice to be with your anxiety without pushing it away. Be with it, but not just to be with it, because if you're just with it, like for most of us, if I just sit and I have a super anxious and I'm gonna actually make it worse, right? Because my mind's thinking about it. You want to take behaviors while you are anxious. Okay? If before we try to do behaviors that would try to control the anxiety or push it away, suppress it, here we're actually taking behaviors, but we're letting ourselves be anxious. Now, there's a lot of behaviors you can do, actions you can take, from like coloring to which is great because your mind can focus on something while you're anxious and while all that energy is coming up. Remember, when you're anxious, when you have these feelings, this is literally emotional. It's a great time. It's a great time. It's when you're triggered and anxiety comes up is when you can actually come up, and if you can let it be, it can come up and it can come out. Um, Anything where you can focus, where you can go on a walk, you can do something. The main thing is you're not doing it to make yourself feel less anxious. Okay? So choose a behavior that is something that you want for your life, is what I would say mostly. Like if you want to be fit, if you want to be healthy, if you want to, whatever, go for a walk, do certain things, take actions that align with your values and behavior. Sometimes you might just want to focus on something and do something while you're anxious too. But it goes back to what you want for your life. Now, think about this from like a person that most people can understand this based on like people who, because the number one fear a lot of times is public speaking in this country. And so a lot of people who are anxious or who are going to give a speech get anxious, but they do it anyways. They just go give the speech. They just do the speech. And there's people, I forget who it was. I trained a client once who was a producer and also a manager for bands. And there was this artist named Joan Jett, who you might know. I don't know much about music. Oh, I do know music, but like the 80s and whatever, I'm a little rough. Joan Jett, I think it was Joan Jett. She was extremely nervous before every show. Um, she would like to the point of like throwing up, but she would still go out and do it. Now I'm curious on the story why it didn't improve for her and what was happening there, but that's another side story. But the main thing is that people routinely take actions when they're nervous and when they're feeling anxious. It's the really smart ones that overthink it and we try to control it and we try to make it go away. Well, you just got to go out and live life. You got to show your brain that you can be anxious. It's okay to feel anxious. We're going to take behaviors and actions that we want for our life. And that's it right there. That's the skill you're trying to do. That's the signal. It's going to be the strongest action behavior. The strongest signal you can send your brain to make it focus less on your anxiety. And that's the key to moving out of it and moving into your life, getting out of your head and getting into your life. And this is going to unlock so much for you guys. It's going to unlock so much creative potential and in areas financially, relationships, physical, mental, social. It's going to be amazing. So more of these discussions happening on Patreon. I hope you got something out of this. Please comment if anything resonated with you, or if you have anything you want to add to this. Please subscribe. Please like. I'm going to bounce. Thanks for watching.